Hello and welcome back to Casson. This is a knitting podcast where I talk about my finished objects, my whips, some yarn acquisitions and some of my knitting things. My name is Ellie, I'm from Austria and this is episode number 22. If you are familiar with my podcast, then you have noticed that I am not in my usual spot. I am actually at home in my hometown. This is the room where I grew up in, so it is a different setup. I am also recording on my phone this time because I didn't take my camera with me, because I've been here for a few days and I will stop for the weekend and then I'll go back to Vienna because it was the Easter holidays and we spend that with family every year, so that's why I'm here. Also, I don't know how much you can see, is what I'm trying to say. I don't have a mirror, so I really just don't know how in frame I am. Please excuse that. Also, please excuse any noises that are coming through the video. My neighbour upstairs is really stompy. That person doesn't know how to walk normally and silently, so I'm really sorry about that if you can hear that. And I have no idea what's gonna happen today, if the postman's gonna arrive, if my mum's gonna call, we'll see. Also, I have a friend here with me. I hope you can't really see that when I'm sitting in front of it, because like I say, I can't see myself. So my mum's stuff is in the background, please excuse that as well. Don't worry about the skeleton, it's dead, it's not doing anything, it's just plastic, but I also turned it away so it doesn't stare you through the camera, so I hope that's okay. Yeah, I think we can get into the podcast now with all of the really rambly stuff. Hello, editing me here. Something that I forgot to mention in the video and is really important. I haven't heard back from the giveaway winner, so if that is you, I'm gonna put your comment right here once again. Then please get into contact with me. If I haven't heard back from you next time, I will have to give away the prizes to someone else because I don't have any way to contact you, so please get in contact with me either over on Instagram or email. Everything is always linked down below. Would very appreciate that. Right, let's get into the podcast and start with the first finished object, which is what I am wearing. This is my finished Magnolia summer tee by Camilla Vad. I am so happy how it's turned out. It is a circular yoke. You have some short rows in the back, and then you start increasing equally around, well, as a circular yoke, and stand up. This is the lace. Again, don't know how much you can see. This is the lace. It's got some really nice bobbles, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. After I found this method on how to perk your bobbles, this has changed everything. I know a lot of people don't use the bobbles that were described in the pattern, and I don't really know how you would normally make bobbles because this was my first time making them, but in general I'm really happy with how they turned out. It was a little bit fiddly to get them to perk up because what you do is you stretch. You have one loose stitch directly beside the bobble, normally on the left side, and you pull on this one and then you turn it counterclockwise and then you push that over the bobble to make it really stand out. And this was a little bit fiddly, but I'm super happy with the result, so I am more than willing to go through all of that again. And the lace opened up really nicely as well. I already blocked it, that's why it's probably got some crease marks along the sleeves. I can never get my shirts to lay flat properly without getting the crease marks, especially on the sleeves. I'm not super bothered by them, but some of them look quite funny, so it is what it is. About the yarn, I have the yarn label here. It is Tilia by Sandnesgarn in the colour Sage. If you want the colour code, is it's 8521, and I'm really happy with the colour. The yarn is a fingering weight, and I did hold it double because I had the yarn in stash, and I really like this. This is my favourite summer yarn. I know there is I know that there is Lena by Sandnesgarn, which is like the big brother of Lena. It is a DK weight naturally. It's got the same fibre composition, and I have worked with that one as well. But for some reason, I don't like it as much as this one. I don't know why that is. I have to work with it once more again to really see the difference, but I feel like this might be a bit softer, or it's got like a nicer shine to it, the yarn. I think Lena is quite matte in general. It's not as shiny, so that's why I prefer this one. I know there is a DK weight by Sandnesgarn in the same yarn and whatever, but I just prefer this one. The yarn is super nice to work with. It's very smooth and it can be a bit fiddly because you do have like 4 or 5 strands. So you do have to be careful that you catch the whole thread and not just half of it. But I think in general that was fine for me. And then you have a twisted rib on all of the rib sections, which kind of hurt my hands once again, but I think it does look really good. The yarn did stretch out a little bit to open up the lace. I think it did grow a lot, especially on the sides, but I think that the fit is really nice, and I almost think the circular yokes might work the best for me. I don't know. You do have a bit of fabric here in the armhole area, which is normal with a circular yoke, but in general I'm really happy with it. The depth, the armhole depth for the first time is actually just perfect. Normally it's always too big, so I have like this flap and this bat wing as you call it, and this one doesn't, so I'm really happy. The only thing before I talk about the pattern is that I had to purchase this yarn again. So I had 4 balls in stash and I ran out. That's why this has been a whip for quite some time, because I didn't get the yarn on time, but I finally finished it. But I do have a lot of leftovers because I had about 4 or 5 rows left of the lace charts and then the rib, so that, I don't know, that's about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches, I think. I'm not good with measurements. Let's just say it wasn't a lot left to do, and I do have essentially almost a whole ball left now, and that kind of annoys me. I know it's my own fault, you know, I'm not blaming anyone. I know that because I think I did know that I went in with not enough yarn. With this yarn you get 220 meters, so I used 5. So what's that? 1100 meters, is that right? If I would have used the whole ball. I don't know if the pattern recommends that amount. I actually didn't check. But that's how much thereabouts I used. I'm gonna weigh the skein that I have left, but it is quite a lot, and with one single skein you can't really make anything with fingering and a summer fibre. So I really don't know what I'm gonna do with this. Excuse me, my voice is not warmed up yet. And yeah, I'm just gonna take a sip of tea. I hope you also have something to drink and you're knitting on your things. Anyway, the pattern. The pattern was interesting. I don't want to talk negatively about it because overall I really enjoyed it. I think it's a beautiful design. However, I do think that it does need a lot of work, at least the version that I got. I don't know how the sweater version looks like. I have not really checked because I was very confused with the sweater version. So what you do with this is you get the pattern and it is the sweater design, but they also have a section included, like the other half of the pattern is for the t-shirt, so it's shorter. I don't know if anything from the lace changed or the gauge. Like I said, I've not really checked that, but I assumed when I bought the pattern that it's just gonna be, you get the sweater and then they tell you just make short sleeves. So I was very surprised to find that it's actually a separate pattern in the pattern. And it was alright, like the writing style was alright. It wasn't my favourite, but I did get the hang of it on, about what I have to do. However, and that's a very big however, I was not happy with the pattern when it got to the lace. So the yoke section is actually fine until you get to sleeve separation, and then you knit about 4 inches before you start the lace. And that's where the confusing part starts, and that's, I think, is why this is so crucial to me, that this is a well-written piece. What happened was, for some reason in the pattern, the lace section was written up twice. So you have the pattern itself has 2 columns side by side, and the lace section was written twice. So that was the first thing that really confused me. And then the second thing, there's one row in the lace pattern that in the chart is normal, like the chart has no, how should I say that? Yeah, the written form tells you something different than what the lace chart tells you, and that is row number 17. And I just ignored the written instructions. I like to use the chart itself anyways better, because I can't understand what people are trying to say when they write it. So I'm a very visual person. But I was a bit confused as to why they specifically picked that row when the chart tells you something different. I don't know if that has happened to anyone else or if that's just me, but I thought that was very confusing. And then the other thing was, I don't know if in the original design, at least with the shirt version, you're supposed to have like 4 knit stitches in between the lace panel front and back. Well, not panel, but charts. And when I started doing the first round and I got to the end, I was like, hang on a minute, I have 4 stitches here, or was it 8? I think it was 8. I have 8 stitches here and 8 here. In total that makes 16, which is exactly how many stitches one lace repeat has. So I'm like, why do I have to not have the lace going all around, but why do I have like a normal panel in between? So that is one modification that I did. I ignored that as well, and that just made the lace go the whole circumference round, and just ignored that step as well. But then with the last bit of the pattern, it kind of mentions on the side how long you're supposed to make the ribbing, and I was really annoyed because at first I thought that they didn't mention the ribbing at all. I'm saying they, but I think you know what I mean, the designer. The ribbing is just like 2 sentences, how many rows you're supposed to do, and then it starts with the lace once again. So I read through the pattern at least 3 times and I couldn't find it, and then I was so annoyed, and then I looked again on the 4th time, I found it. So it's very hidden and it's not really obvious because it kind of jumps from section to section. It tells you to do the lace and then do the ribbing, and then it jumps to the lace chart, the written instruction for the lace chart, and then it directly jumps to the sleeves. And I thought that was very confusing. So I wouldn't recommend this pattern to a total beginner. I think it is a very nice one. I think the design is really beautiful, but at least with the written instructions, there needs to be some work done, is all I'm gonna say. So that was kind of my review / conclusion about this pattern. Would I make it again? I'm not sure, because I mean, now I know how like what I have to do, but I think with the lace chart one is enough. So that was my one and only finished object, and we can get into whips now. Get some tea again. Today I have a very interesting tea because I am home here now, and the tea is like an orange flower tea. It is very nice, it is flowery and it is orangey, but it's not what I normally would go for, but we'll make do. So I have 3 whips in total to show you, and since we are already talking about magnolias, I will show you the first whip. Again, I don't know how much you're gonna see, so I'm just gonna go back as far as possible so I can give you the whole picture. So if you are not familiar with this, just a quick recap. I am making this for my mum. It's gonna be a birthday present. Her birthday is in June, and I am really far ahead. I'm almost done, one could say. So this is what it looks like. It has the same lace pattern at the bottom with what I have. So I'm currently at this section here. I just finished the 2 bobble rows. The chart is a bit different with this one. It's not the exact same, but the overall design is the same. And since last time, I didn't really work on the lace because I was away. I didn't really have a lot of time to knit on things, and I also wasn't really feeling lace. So what I did was I made a sleeve. We have one sleeve now, and it's got a really pretty lace here as well. There we go. And overall, I am quite excited to finish this. The sleeve was super fast. You work on 6mm needles. So this is the, sorry, I forgot to tell you the pattern. This is the Magnolia Chunky Cardigan by Camilla as well. And the gauge is 16 stitches or 15 stitches. It is a quite big, well, it's a chunky gauge, as the pattern says. And I'm not mad about this because it goes by very quickly. So with the lace, like I said, nothing happened. Let me put it on. Have the yarn wrapped around. Here we go. It is currently still at a cropped length, but if you have the button band, which we'll still have to make, the sleeve is a bit short. Like when I stand up, I mean, it's not for me, that's the first bit, but I don't know, it is a bit, yeah. I am expecting it to grow, that's why I bound off when I did, and I have some problems with this pattern as well. I don't know what it is with the magnolias, but before I get into that rant, this is what it looks like. I think the colour will suit her really nicely. She's a very delicate pink person, and I think she's going to be really happy with the lace. I hope that she's going to wear this because I made her something last year and she's not wearing that at all. So I really hope that she's not too afraid to wear this as well and just leave it in her wardrobe and not touch it, because that would make me sad, because that's not why I'm making her things. I also found the perfect buttons, but I want to make the button band before I get the buttons so I can compare it to the colour and see if it works, because the buttons that I have in mind are not completely round. They're a bit like a flower shape, so I'm really worried that it's going to snag when you push it through the buttonhole, so I like to try that first. This is my first cardigan. I've never made a cardigan before. I don't enjoy purling. The body was, my wrists are absolutely wrecked, but that's why I started with the sleeve, because I can knit in the round and it's quite fast. So this is what it looked like, and with this one I actually learned a new technique which was quite exciting, but I'm not sure if I like it. I don't know. I have never done this before, but with the sleeve, it's so fluffy. With the sleeve you have like a chain as the bind off edge. It's like a proper chain, but it is supposed to be quite stretchy. In my opinion, it's not that stretchy. This is done by doing, how do you do that? You knit two together through the back loop, and then you put that one loop you have now on the right hand needle back on the left hand needle, and then you knit through the back loop two together as well again, and that's how you make this chain. I don't know if I like the chain. It's not as stretchy as I thought it would be. I think there are better cast off methods. Is it gonna, like, will it bother me? I'm not sure, because it's a sleeve. It doesn't have to be super stretchy like a sock, because it is a very wide sleeve. Like, the circumference is indeed very wide, which I would have preferred it not to, because I know that these kind of sleeves, they snag a lot on things when you reach over something, and she's a very clumsy person, and she's the person that will dunk her sweater sleeve in something that you cannot get out of the garment anymore. So I'm a teeny tiny bit worried about this, but it is going to be her garment. If she decides to never wear it, then that's her decision. But yeah, I made a sleeve, and I did make the sleeve a little bit longer than what the pattern said. I think I picked up the wrong amount of stitches, and then I only had to decrease once and not twice in the last round. And then I just knit a few rows straight to give it some length, because here is what I'm confused about again. In the pattern pictures on Ravelry, she's got a short-sleeved, well, short-sleeved-ish version, it's elbow length, and the long-sleeve version. But in the pattern, it doesn't tell you how to do these two, like, sizes. It doesn't tell you this is when you stop if you want it to hit your elbow, and this is when you stop if you want it to be wrist length, or like the whole arm sleeve. So that was the first thing that kind of annoyed me with this, because I was like, well, how am I supposed to know if I'm knitting this for someone else and I cannot measure it on another person, that this is going to be the correct length? Because you do have standardized arm measurements, lengths, circumferences, all of that jazz. You do have that, and it's not that much more work to just say, if you want to achieve this length, you add this many centimeters and inches. It doesn't even have to be rows before you start the lace chart on the cuff and then the ribbing. So I do expect it to grow. I hope it will. I hope that it won't grow too much sideways though, because if it grows width-wise, it shortens the length. And if that is going to happen with the sleeve, then the sleeve will be even shorter. But we'll see. If she doesn't like it, then I will just unpick the bind off, and I will just add a few more rows of twisted rib, and I think that will be fine. So let's talk about the yarn. the yarn I'm using is Filcolana Tilia in this gorgeous light pink. This is color 321, and it is my favorite mohair. It's not itchy whatsoever, and my mum constantly tells me now that this is super soft. So I really hope she's gonna be very happy when she sees that I included something that she told me now multiple times, that this is super soft, and that's gonna be hers. And then the other yarn is Drops Cotton Merino. It is a super wash yarn in the color 28. This is also a very light pink. And this is a DK weight. This is 21 stitches weight, gauge wise, and this is 50% wool, 50% cotton yarn. It is super soft. You get 110 meters per 50 grams, I think. Yeah, per 50 grams, and this is super soft. I would highly recommend this yarn if you are looking for a cotton merino blend that is quite affordable. I would highly recommend this one, and together it makes this fabric. It is very see-through, I do know that, and that was my intention as well. I wanted it to be kind of a summer garment that you can throw on in the evening when it gets a bit chilly outside. I didn't want this to be a winter garment. So I thought a little bit of a looser gauge would be perfect. And it is, in my opinion. So the pattern, like I said, that was the first problem that I had with the sleeve. Overall, it's, I think, a lot better than the summer tee. And I'm gonna have a look how the lace is going to work up. Like I said, it's not exactly the same. I think it's a bit narrower, like not as long. And I don't know when I'm gonna finish this. I wanted to finish it this time, but I really don't know. I kind of lost steam on it, especially with the lace chart. After finishing this lace, I just got out of it, so I need to get back into it, I think. But the sleeve really helped to just to like work on it and then be satisfied that you actually achieved something with this garment. So yeah, I think that's everything I want to say. I got these really cute stitch holders on my needles, which I'm giving away for my giveaway right now, different ones. Anyway, it's also super light, which is perfect, I think, for summer because you can just stuff it in your bag. I did, however, notice that I actually bought too much yarn, and I then remembered why I did that, or why that happened. It was because I wasn't sure if I wanted to make the size XL or L. Now I'm making the size L, and I think it's gonna be fine because it already is quite big. It's got quite a lot of positive ease. I think got 10 centimeters, so 4 inches of positive ease. And with blocking, I know that this grew, so I'm pretty sure that this will also grow, and that's, I think, the perfect size. Anything else? I don't think so. I think we can move on to the second whip, which is my sweater number 18 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It's a bit of a mess. Oops. I know people are already talking about spring knits and they already cast on many summer shirts, but it's currently raining outside and it's about 10 degrees. So it's not spring yet for me. I am really happy about this because I am not feeling spring and summer knits at all. I just want to knit sweaters and live in them forever. So I think I would be really happy in the Scandinavian countries where it never really gets warm. So I just want to make loads and loads of sweaters, which is why I cast this on last time. And I did make some decent progress on it, I think. Well, focus more on other things. But this is what it looks like. It is a drop shoulder construction. If you don't know the pattern, it's got this beautiful structure. I'm very excited to block this. I think it's gonna open up really, really nicely, and it's super, super soft and so fluffy. What I am using is not here. Hang on. It's Drops Karisma, sorry, in the color 72, which is a very light grey. It is a DK weight. And then I'm holding it with some Filcolana Tilia. This is the color silver, or 358. And together they make this gorgeous fabric. And I just noticed I had a little accident, and I think you all just saw that. I spilled some coffee because I have a bookshelf on top, like over my bed, and that's where I always put my glasses and things, my drinks up there. And I forgot that I put some more milk in my coffee, and it's way fuller than when I expected. So I grab on top of me and try to bring it down, and it just spills everywhere. So please excuse that massive stain I have on my sweater. It will be fine. Once I wash it, I might even give it a quick soak today. Please excuse that. That was a little accident of mine. But overall, I'm really happy. Last time I just joined the sleeves. I knit a little bit more on it, not a huge amount, because like I said, I've been away, I've been doing stuff, and life in general is all I'm gonna say, life. I love this pattern. I know that not a lot of people like the brand anymore, but I think that this design is super, super unique, and I am really happy with how it's turning out. Am I gonna be able to wear it? Probably not this before the summer hits. But that's okay with me, because then when winter comes around again, I have a beautiful sweater that I can throw on. I know a lot of people, or I know someone should I say, who actually finished, they cast on this, I think even a little bit after me, and now they already finished the body. So they must knit exclusively on this. That's not what I'm doing. But I got a bit demotivated when I saw that this person is already on the ribbing of the body and about to cast off. So I'm like, what about me? But yeah, I'm still leaving the neck open because I want to make sure that I do have enough yarn to finish the sleeves. I should do. I have, I think, even one extra ball if it shouldn't be alright. And I know I can get this yarn, so we don't have another Ingrid sweater disaster. But yeah, all in all, I think this is a really, really fun knit. It doesn't really get boring. The only thing that does hold me back a little bit is that I always have to have the chart with me. I always have to have the pattern because it is a very uneven repeat. You cannot really memorize it, at least in my opinion, because the rows always change. Sometimes you have just a single purl row and then you have a knit row after that again. Sometimes you have like this really funky rib section coming up. To me, it feels like you never know what's going to come next, and that's why I always have to have my iPad with me, where I have the pattern on it and where I can cross the things out, because I don't like to print things just to save paper. So really, really happy with this. Again, don't know how that's going to go over the next few weeks, if it's gonna get really hot and I won't be able to work on it anymore, or if I'm just gonna power through. I think the sleeves will be a bit of a drag as well, although I noticed the sleeves are actually not as bad as I always make it out to be. So maybe I just have to switch between sleeve and body, like make one sleeve, finish the body, make the other sleeve, or something like that, for some variety. And because sleeves actually go past quite quickly. But yeah, anyway, I think this is going to be one of my favorite sweaters. I think grey is a great color. I don't have a lot of grey pieces in my wardrobe. I tend to either go for browns or color, so we'll see about that. All right, let's talk about the last whip. Have some tea. Here it is. The last whip is something I've also not worked on because I tried it and then it didn't work out. I got frustrated and I put it in a corner. The last whip I have for you is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta. And this is what it looks like. This is the back panel. I now finished it. It is a fingering weight pattern, so at least for me it does take quite a while, especially when you're working flat. I really did not look forward to this part, and I'm also not looking forward to doing the front because I tried starting the front and it didn't work out, so I have to do it again. But I think is very nice. So I do know it rolls up on itself. Yeah, the back panel, finished it now. I think last time I was just I don't even know where I was. But this is what it looks like. The yarn I'm using is Olivia and Oliver Fibers fingering Merino in the colorway Feather. It is a beautiful yarn. It is very, very soft. It's 100% Merino. I think it might be superwash. Probably is because it's hand dyed. I am alternating skeins, which is why you have like dangly bits kind of everywhere. But, and I said that last time, and now I think I kind of can confirm it, especially now that I'm seeing it. So I only started alternating skeins in this straight section because you can't really, or at least I haven't found a way to alternate when you are working flat and you want it in the middle. So for the increase section, or the short row section actually, which starts, God knows where, here, is that right? I think here. So this bit is all in one skein, and then I started alternating. But with alternating the skeins, I do have color pooling. Can't talk today. I do have the pooling issue, which is why you're supposed to alternate skeins, and I don't know why that has happened, because there are two different skeins. They started at different points as well, because obviously I started with the first skein at a completely different point because I finished the whole short row section. So you have all of the dark speckles in the middle here, and then nothing on the sides, like, or just a little bit. I'm confused. I'm not mad about it because it's in the back. I'm not gonna see it, and it is speckled yarn. It is hand dyed yarn, and it will never be perfect, and it's very unique. So I'm not complaining or anything, but I'm just very confused as to why the speckles, even when I alternate skeins every second row, because of course I have to go back like there and back, and then I alternate, that the speckles are in the same place. I don't know. But the color is beautiful. I don't know how wearable this will be because it is wool, and in summer it is very hot, and I don't think it's a great summer garment. For me, it might be like a transitional piece. But I really wanted to use this yarn for this because I think it was just perfect. So this is what it looks like. This is what we're at. I took this with me to Italy and on the train, and it is quite therapeutic because it is fingering weight, but it does take quite a lot of time, especially the purling, because I had almost only purl projects on my needles and my wrists were screaming at me to please stop. So I had to take some days off, which is also nice because then I think you can come back to the piece with fresh eyes. But now I'm starting the front, and I have no idea how the construction really works. So I'm doing some new techniques, which is exciting because it's new, but it's also a bit daunting because you don't know what it's gonna be like and what's gonna happen. So yeah, the yarn is here in my project bag. This is what it looks like caked up. It's a bit scruffy, but would highly recommend the yarn. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I think it would also be a really nice sweater. But because I only have 2 skeins, the t-shirt I thought was the best option. I am a bit short on yarn, but only by like 13 meters, and by the looks of it, it is very oversized, so I can always either shorten the body or shorten the sleeves, whatever I feel like, and then I'm gonna be fine. So those were all of my whips, and we can now get into yarn acquisitions, and I do have some yarn acquisitions. I only have one with me, and the others I actually took some pictures because I wanted to show you nevertheless. I do have them on my iPad. I'm gonna pop the picture in somewhere here on the screen, and I'm gonna talk about it. So last time I mentioned that I do have some yarn coming. I found this really cool company that sell internationally. The yarn came from the Netherlands, but it's a bit like Wool Warehouse in the UK, just for Europe, so not in the UK, because otherwise you would have to pay customs, and that's expensive. So I was really happy to find this company, and they have all of the drops yarn and even more, and some of the drops yarn that I can't even get here in Austria, and some really cool yarn from different brands that is very difficult to get for me. So the first thing that I have is this Vikinggarn Bambino. It is a very unusual color for me. I know, it is orange. This is the color 452. And this is a very interesting one because this is a blend of 50% bamboo and 50% cotton. It is incredibly soft, like incredibly soft. It feels like merino wool, but even softer. It is gorgeous. I mean, bamboo itself is already quite soft. Anyway, so this is a fingering weight. You get 176 meters per 50 grams, and it is a fingering weight. It is from Norway, I believe. I mean, it has the Norwegian flag on it, so I assume it's from Norway. For all of this yarn that I bought, I actually have a plan. So that's why I bought the yarn, because I knew what I want to make with it. And for this one, this is going to be Summer Knus by, I can't remember the name of the designer. I have to pop it in here. It's like Lisbeth, I think, or something. I don't know. So this is the top that I want to make. I do have all of the yarn here because I actually thought I might cast this on, but I think I'm gonna wait a little bit longer before it really gets warm and I can't work on my sweaters anymore, and then start with the summer stuff. So this is what I want to make. It is a structured t-shirt. I think it is a very beautiful design. I am really into structure right now, which is why I made the Ingrid sweater and now sweater number 18, so you kind of see a theme here. And I'm going to continue with this. It is probably going to take a while. I can't remember if the pattern is fingering weight or if it's DK weight, and I bought the yarn to hold it double. I'm sorry, I didn't look these things up before. So I have the yarn for this, and then I do have some drops Karisma. This is kind of the second batch that came in. I have it in this beautiful grey colour. This is the colour number 21. I can't remember the name. I don't have any plans for this. This was just as like an experiment because I do want to have some, this is gonna sound really stupid, but I do want to have some yarn to design things, so just laying around, not being like designated to a project. I don't know, my brain. So this one I have no plans for. This would be a really nice zipper sweater, but I might just keep it because, like I said, I want to have some spare yarn to be able to design something myself. And then the second one is also drops Karisma in the colour 55, and this is, I can't remember if I have this exact same yarn. I made my friend's vest back in December with this yarn, with this colour, and I really liked it. I do have, I think, 3 or 4 balls left, so I thought if I get another one I could also make myself a vest because it was a really nice colour, and I think if I make the size that I need, it will be enough yarn. And then with the rest of it, I thought I could make the Ingrid sweater once again by Petite Knit. Now, I have a kind of a dilemma. I mean, I'm not going to cast it on because, like I said, it's going to be way too hard to be working on it anyways. So I'm just going to let that rest. But I have this yarn and I have the yarn that I showed last time, which is a darker brown. And I don't know which one I would like to have it as the Ingrid sweater because I am leaning more so towards the darker brown. But I'm not sure because I do have a lot of dark, like I have some dark jeans, and I'm not sure if it will look that good with a dark Ingrid sweater. But I have a sweater quantity of this as well. If I decide I want to use this one and not the other one, I always have a little bit of yarn left to design my own things. And then we get again into the summer yarns. I have a huge batch now of drops Belle. I bought this because I wanted to make 2 different tops. The first one is the Ingrid summer top by, I think it's Gregoria Fibers. It's an eyelet pattern and it looks like a vest, like a tank top with a high neck. So I really want to make this with that. And I also bought this yarn because I want to make Sari Nordland's Piazza tee, is that the name? Is a gorgeous t-shirt. I saw someone, like another podcaster, wear this. I can't remember the podcast now, but she made it into a sweater and I thought this is just gorgeous. I saw this design a lot. It's very intricate, at least for me. I'm pretty sure once you get into it, it's not as difficult as it looks like now. But I would like to make this. I don't know if I would just start it and then not finish it or what's going to happen with it. And but I thought this could be really nice. And then I got one last kind of t-shirt quantity of cotton original 88. I don't know how you would read that, 8/8. This is a 50-gram ball, 100% cotton. Oh yeah, sorry, drops Belle it is a blend, I believe. It is a DK weight and it is a viscose and linen blend and cotton. So cotton, viscose, linen blend. And then this one is 100% cotton. It is also very soft. I normally don't really like to work too much with cotton, but I think that they are just the best t-shirts for me in summer. Like I have one completely 100% cotton t-shirt and I wear this one all the time because it is not warm whatsoever, and that's what I need with like 38-degree heat outside. So this one, it also is quite an unusual color for me. It is color 1928. It's some kind of pink shade. I can't remember. In German it was Gammelrosa. Don't know if that would be, if the English one is the same. But it is a very unusual shade for me as well, because this time I really wanted to have some colour in my wardrobe, and I thought, what does actually go well with the things that I have, especially like shorts or dresses or skirts. And I thought just a bit of pink colour would look good on me, some kind of high contrast things just like this. I don't know if I'm an orange person, but I really like the colour, so I thought, why not try something new? So those were all of my yarn acquisitions. I am very excited for all of the projects that are yet to come. I'm really looking forward to casting this t-shirt on, but I have so many whips, and I have a lot of whips that are in hibernation, so I don't know when I'll get back to those. So I don't want to add to that pile, and these are genuinely things that I want to have, especially, I mean, I need to finish the cardigan for my mom anyways, but these are, I'm trying to knit more things that I genuinely want to have in my wardrobe and want to wear for summer. So really excited about those things. I have applied for a few test knits in a few others I didn't get in, and from a few I'm still waiting for the selection, so we'll see about that. And then I also went to the fabric store. If you're interested in sewing, we have this really cool fabric store here in my hometown, and it's just incredible. It's yeah, I can't even get to explain how nice the whole thing is, and beautiful fabrics and everything that you might want and need is in there. Anyway, so I want to make 2 dresses. I bought the patterns a few weeks ago. This is the first fabric. It is gorgeous. It is a white fabric with some really nice dainty flowers, and this is going to be a short sleeve dress with a high neck and a pleated skirt. At least that's the plan. I don't know if it's gonna work out, but I thought white would be a really good summer color, and I hope I can get a lot of wear out of this. So this is the first one, and then the second one is this one. It is autumnal, I know, but I've been really digging the like rusty brown shades at the moment, and I actually found this fabric with smaller polka dots, but they didn't have enough of it, so I had to go for the bigger ones, which, you know, is fine. And with this one, this is going to be a dress as well. It's going to have a tiered skirt with some puffy sleeves and a v-neck and a very deep V in the back, so you don't need a zipper, and you just tie your belt and then it stays in place. So I'm really excited about these 2 things. There were so many beautiful fabrics and I wanted to buy all of them, but this was expensive enough. These 2 are both 100% cotton, which is the perfect summer fibre, and like I said, I really hope I get a lot of wear out of this, and I also hope I can sew it up pretty soon as well. So this is the end of all of the knitting things, and I hope that you had a good time. If you don't want to stick around, I hope I'm going to see you next time. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my Italy trip, if that is okay with you. So if you don't know, I went to Italy over the weekend. It's almost 2 weeks ago now. It was so nice. I drove because it's not that far from the Austrian border down to Italy. So on the first day we went to Trieste and had a very nice afternoon/evening there, and then the next day we drove to Venice, and that was by far the best day ever. The sun was out, the weather was good, it wasn't cloudy or rainy like in Trieste, and we had some absolutely beautiful food. It was so good. We did, of course, the sightseeing tour that everyone does. We went on the bus to get around the place. And then we went to the island Murano, which is very known for its glass, and this was a lovely evening away from the people. The canal that they have going through is just a typical Italian vibe. If you want to really feel that, you absolutely have to go there. I would highly recommend this place to anyone. I actually bought some souvenirs. I bought some nice glass earrings because I don't like to just have like a magnet or something. I like to actually buy tote bags and things that I can actually use and wear. So that was my souvenir. Excuse me. That was my souvenir from Venice, and we ate some incredible pasta there. We had some crab and some kind of seashell thing to eat. It was so good, and a glass of wine in the evening. But then in the evening we were absolutely knackered. We were really tired because the day has been long. And then the next day we drove to Verona. Excuse me, my throat, Jesus. I'm losing my voice now. In Verona it was absolute hell. It was raining. There was a big thunderstorm and I had to drive and I didn't know the streets, and water was just everywhere on the street and it wouldn't go away. And the people, as the Italians, as we know, Italians driving is a bit crazy. So a very stressful situation, and that was just like a quick stop in between. But it was still nice. I would have liked to stay a bit longer, but because we were under a bit of time pressure, we could only whiz through the streets very quickly. There were loads of tourists. I think this one might have been even worse than Venice, which was interesting for me. But we did kind of the main things there. We went up to the castle that is on the hill overlooking the city, took some beautiful pictures. But then the really black clouds already came, so we had to rush back to the car, and I kid you not, we stepped into the underground garage, and as soon as we did that, the rain hit and it was so bad. The thunderstorm, the thunder was so loud, the glass actually vibrated, so it was not a fun time. But then we had a bit of a disaster with the internet, so I didn't know where to drive because we didn't have any. It's a whole nother story, but even after all of that, I still enjoyed seeing it. And then we drove to Lake Garda, which was our final destination of the whole trip, and this was very relaxed. We stayed in like a camping site place. We had a bungalow, so a direct view to like onto the lake, which was incredible. And then we walked around in the evening down by the lake, and then had some pizza and tiramisu one last time. And then just before we left on Monday morning, we went down for a quick walk once again to really get in all of the sun that you can get and the nice warm air, because when we came back to Austria it was freezing here, so that was quite a temperature change. But the drive back was alright. It was 6 hours. I drove through, we didn't have to stop, which was good, but afterwards I was very tired. And then in the evening we had a comedy show which I booked, and we saw Dylan Moran. I really don't know how to pronounce his name. He is a very funny guy. I think if you have the chance to see him, definitely do. He is in quite a few of films and TV programs. I got to know him through Black Books, and I love that show. I can watch it over and over again. So that was really, really great as well. And then on Tuesday, next day, we came back to Vienna and the holiday was over. And we did so many things over the past 4 days that it felt surreal that we even were gone for a few days. But all in all, it was really, really nice. I did not have a lot of knitting time because, first of all, I was not the passenger side princess because I was the driver, so I could not do that. And I was just too tired afterwards. Like, I was just falling asleep at 10 o'clock at night and sleeping for like 10 hours because I was that tired. But yeah, that was my Italy trip, and hopefully for many more to come. Now we get into the holiday season and I'm thinking about where I want to go this year and what I want to see. So yeah, I think that is everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. You got some interesting things to hear, and you made loads of progress in that time on your knitting thing. Let me know down below what you're knitting on at the moment. I would be very interested because I still want to see, are you also holding on to the winter knits, or are you full on in spring and summer knits? So yeah, go over to Instagram if you don't follow me there yet. If you want to, you can do that. Subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.